Hey guys, Ashley here. I'm from AJ fan. I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope all is well. Um, just got home from work. Not literally, but I just got home from work at like 2:30. So literally, yeah, I just got home from work. But I'm still making my OC video. So today, I don't remember if I said I was doing. I know I said I was doing storylines, but I can't remember what else I said. I got storylines on here and dialogue. You know what? I'm not gonna do dialogue and talk about storylines. I'm gonna talk about storylines and the season structure. So let's talk about storylines. I think with the OC, this is the OC analyzation video. Sorry if I didn't say that, but this is the OC analyzation video. I did part one with the pilot and characters, and I'm going to be talking about just giving my opinion on that. And the storylines. I'm going to talk about the storylines and season structure. And if you guys feel like in my character rant, I didn't say enough. I feel like out of everyone in that cast, only Ryan, Marissa, and I would say Sandy and Kirsten are the only real characters who had a real complex structure to them. I feel like Zeph never really changed. I feel like Summer never really changed, or Julie. I feel like they're the only real characters who had like a real shift to them. Like by the end of the show, or Marissa's instance when she was last seen, you can tell there was a different change in her character. I know people are gonna say, "Oh my gosh, she didn't change. She didn't change." I personally disagree. I feel like Marissa has always had layers to her character, unlike someone like a Zeph or a Summer. Whether or not you want to believe it, Marissa being very rebellious and going back to things like substance abuse, toxic guys, heavy partying, making Julie pissed, that's part of her layers of her being a character. It's what keeps her interesting as a character. The fact that she keeps making the same mistakes, and she recognizes what the mistakes are, and yet she keeps doing them because this girl is. I'm not making any excuses for her behavior, but at the same time, Marissa had a lot of shit going on in her head that the writers just did not address. And I think that's really pissing me off to this day, is that she was very broken. I honestly feel like she was very depressed. I think she was an alcoholic. And I feel like he just swept all this underneath the rug. I don't know why she stopped going to therapy after season one, but she in motherfucking therapy. She was almost raped. She was an alcoholic. Like, she just had a lot of stuff going on. She was almost shot and killed in a hotel room. Like, Marissa just had a lot going on in her life. But honestly, like, if I didn't, you guys feel like I just saying that, then I'm saying that now. I feel like those are the only characters to me who I feel like had like actual layers to them. Yes, with Kirsten, it took a moment to get there in season two, but at least I can say she's more layered than Summer. So, as for storylines and season structure, I think when it comes to the OC, I kind of look at the storylines as the same way as I look at Gossip Girl. Like, the as the seasons kept going up, the storylines just kept getting worse and worse. And I felt that way with I feel that way about the OC. Like by seasons 3 and 4, the storylines just got really terrible and just very uninteresting. Seasons 1 and 2 by far had the best storylines. Like even in like season 2, there are some storylines that are just like very unbearable and like why were they there? Like for examples, Julie's porn storyline. I thought that was just very unnecessary. What else? Zeph being obsessed with that girl Alex, I thought that was unnecessary. Alex and Marissa being a couple, that being a whole storyline, I thought that was very unnecessary to me. Um, what else? I actually enjoyed the whole Lindsay thing about her being like the bastard child of the what is Kirsten's last? I have no idea what her last name is. Of being like the bastard child of like Kirsten and them. I thought that was interesting. I just wish they would have had just given Lindsay a little bit more of a fucking personality besides just fucking whining all the time. All she ever did was fucking she was either whining or she was complaining or just having a bad attitude. Other than that, she had like no real personality. And she she was just really annoying. Like I really don't like Lindsay. I can't believe Ryan went out with her. But I actually really enjoyed the storyline. I just wish they just would have cast a different actress, maybe, because I thought the actress who played Lindsay, I thought she was really terrible. She wasn't convincing with her body language or anything. So I really actually really enjoyed the storyline. I know a lot of fans didn't like it that much, but me personally, I really did. Another storyline that I just found very unbearable was the love triangle between Zeph, Summer, and what's his name? Jesse, Zach, Nate, whatever his name is, that guy, the boring guy. That storyline was just very unbearable. I thought it was just stupid. It was like hard to take it seriously. I was just like really over Zeph and Summer in season two. Like to be honest, like I really did not care if they got back together or not. The Spider-Man upside down kiss was iconic, but them getting together after that just completely failed. So you get my point. Even though those storylines were in season two was still a fantastic season. There were other great storylines in that season, like Kirsten Drake's storyline, which I thought was fantastically acted by the actress. The actress gave her all with the drinking. She sold it with her body language. She sold it in her scenes with Sandy. Like I said, the kitchen scene with her dad is hands down one of the best acting scenes in that show. And I honestly, that scene takes me away. Another scene too is the scene where after the funeral, she was drinking really heavily, and Sandy tried to get her to stop drinking, and she said, "Get your hands off me," and like she had like a really like a really bad episode. Like I thought that was really good. The actress really gave her all with the drinking storyline. I wonder if they ever had her on a podcast and just asked her like, get how did you shift to that? How do you just play an alcoholic on TV? Like you don't just be like, okay, I'm playing an alcoholic. You gotta prepare for that and prep for it. So I really wonder if they ever had her and just like asked her like, how did you prep for that? I love the Sandy and Rebecca and Kirsten storyline with Sandy's ex coming back to town because she's on the run for false murder. I thought that was really interesting, seeing whether or not if Sandy was going to cheat on Kirsten, fall back into temptation with the old lover. I thought that was really interesting, and I just thought that it gave their marriage something outside of what we saw in season one. And like we know they were very loving and like had very good chemistry, but maybe they seem a little bit too perfect. So I love that Josh is like, let's give them something to really see if they can live up to the stakes. And I really love the storyline, like Carter being in the midst too, and like Kirsten like feeling something for him. I thought that was very interesting too. So yeah, the Stray storyline hands down was the best storyline in season two. This was, come on, what you say, that scene when Marissa shooting him, that was an iconic scene. Like, come on. So you get my point. And season one, do I even have to? Season one was great all around. I cannot think of one bad. Actually, that's not true. The storylines I would have taken out of season one was Julie sleeping with, what was his name? Luke. I think that was just really unnecessary. Like, I don't think we knew Marissa hated her mom. I think Julie was just doing a little bit too much, getting herself involved with Luke. That was just a little bit that was unnecessary as fuck. The Luke storyline. What else was another storyline that I didn't like that much? I'm trying to think. Oh, I hated the love triangle between Anna, Summer, and Zeph. Like I said, like I don't know what it is with Josh Schwartz, but he just can't seem to write interesting interesting love triangles. And you see this too in Gossip Girl. He just can't seem to write an interesting love triangle. He doesn't seem to really understand the concept of a love triangle. It's like every time he writes one, there's either like a third party. Usually the third person in a love triangle is just not developed right, or they just don't really seem like they're involved in the love triangle. Like, for example, from Gossip Girl, the love triangle between Nate, Blair, and Chuck. Like Nate didn't even really seem part of that love triangle. It was just he was just a footnote serving in the love story between Chuck and Blair. So that's kind of like what it felt with Anna. Anna was just a footnote serving for what Zeph and Summer were going to have in the future, and eventually, I just feel like he could have done a little bit better by writing the love triangle, like giving it a little bit more stakes. It was just really boring, like a really boring love triangle. Like I feel like every episode there was no new stakes. Like the best love triangle to me to ever be on television is Lucas, Peyton, and Brooke, and I already made a video explaining why I said it was a great love triangle. And if you want to learn how to write a great love triangle, there's an article, I don't remember it, but it says how to top, I think there's 11 ways to write a great love triangle. I might write down those 11 reasons and explain it to you guys and try to, and just help people out there who don't understand how to write a love triangle, because it just wasn't interesting this season one. Hands down, the best storyline to me season one was the Oliver storyline. I thought it was amazing. The acting was good from the actor, and it was just really good. Like I really loved it. Loved the storyline. I thought it was really interesting and hands down the best storyline of season one. But overall, season one was just a fantastic season. It was structured great and just perfect. Like a perfect season mixed with character introduction and just storylines to back up what these characters are doing. And then seasons 3 and 4 happened, and I think season 3 has the worst storylines in OC history. There were storylines that were just happening left and right. Some storylines happened and it was just no conclusion. Some storylines ended with no real build up to it. Like season 3 had a whole was just a whole mess, and I think the reason why was because it was 26 episodes, and it was their final high school season, and I think Josh was just doing a little bit too much. Johnny, that was, oh my god, he might have the worst storyline in this season. Johnny's obsession with Marissa, Verchak and Marissa being in a relationship, Marissa going down a spiral again, Ryan and Marissa breaking up for no reason, Ryan getting with that girl, Zeph and Summer, they're back and forth bullshit. Kirsten wants to drink again to get Sandy's attention. Sandy's trying to change the Newport group. It ain't what Kirsten's father envisioned. Julie is still here. They're broke, living in a trailer park, living with Summer. She wants to get ready to marry Summer's dad. Marissa's sister shows up. I don't even remember her name. She shows up. Doesn't have zero impact for the season. Marissa goes to a different school. Ryan and Marissa get kicked out. They come back to the school. It's just this season was just too much. And the only interesting is even a stretch. The only thing I will give this season is the realisticness of life out of high school. Finding a path after high school is the most realistic thing. I think everyone has lived through that who's ever finished high school, just knowing what you're going to do with the rest of your life, whether it's going to be working your whole life trying to make things ends meet, or whether going into a career path and going into college. And me personally, I am working right now. I just quit my last job and work at a new job, and I'm trying to balance everything out before I start school again. I don't want to rush into it and be under pressure. I feel like everything needs to have a certain time. Everything needs to be think about before you rush anything. But I know that I do want college. I did a gap year already, and I don't plan on doing another one, because once you do 2 gap years back to back, you just don't want to do it. So I just feel like season 3 was terrible. And as for season 4, I do not remember a single thing about that season. Not a thing. I don't remember not one storyline. I know people say, but you just said season 3 and 4 were storylines. Yeah, you know what was season 4? Season 4 was such... I think that season had 16 episodes. When I watched it, it was just such like a... I really wanted to see how the show was going to end, and I don't even remember the last episode of the show. I don't care to watch the last episode of the show. All I know is that the way that this show ended, the way the show was handled after season 2 really disappointed me. Like, how do you ruin a show early in its run? Like, I think that's just kind of lazy, in my opinion. How you ruin a show still early in its run? This is season 3. like, I could understand maybe you were like in season 7 of a show. Okay, you're lost now. Maybe we've already told everything that needs to be told. But this is season 3. Anyway, off the storylines, overall, I would say this show has great storylines, but only in the first 2 seasons. As for season structure, and what I mean for season structure is like how things connect, how things don't connect. Do is there a lot of incontinuity? And me personally, I would say this show is the least continuity show I've ever watched. I feel like every season kind of balance each other out. Like at the end of season 1, we see that at the end of season 1, Ryan leaves, Zeph sails off, and Marissa is now going back to her old ways, drinking. And when we open up with season 2, they expand on what we saw in the end of season 1. They kind of expand that in the ending of season 2. Ryan and Trey fought. Marissa comes to Ryan's rescue, shoots Trey. In the opening of in the first episode of season 3, we see that Trey's in the hospital, and Marissa is. I don't know why they decided to focus episodes later on her trauma of what happened with Trey. But you can tell that it affected her, but like I guess it took like 5 episodes after to show that, which I thought was just retarded. I hope God doesn't strike me down for saying that, but that's honestly my brain is telling me that, so that's what I'm gonna say. It was just really stupid. But at the same time, you understand, like, the ending of season 3 is Marissa dying. In the first episode of season 4, we see how her death has affected people who were close to her. Summer, Ryan, and Julie, since no one else really gave a fuck. And since everybody else is forgetting that Marissa was alive and she's died, everyone else is taking it a little bit differently. Ryan is deciding to go back into his old ways is to start fighting to let his anger out. Julie is deciding to forget that Marissa, she can't seem to accept the fact that her daughter has died or anything. Summer is having a hard time adjusting to the fact that her best friend has passed away. So I would say this season is I would say this show is probably one of the best structured shows I've ever seen. And what I mean by structure is kind of what I just expanded on, is that everything stays connected. Whether, like, there just isn't no continuity. Like, even in season 3, there wasn't no continuity, just the storylines were overlapping each other, and it was just too much. But at the same time, things still balance, because what you saw in the episode, it would continue in the next one. So I would say this is some of the best season structure I've ever seen in a show. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that every season was good because of the good structure. Me personally, if I were ranking a show, the worst season is 3, 4, 2, and then 1. So yeah, that is part 2 of the OC on storylines and season structure. So the next thing this is part 2 of it. The next thing I'll be talking about is you guys want to know my opinion on the dialogue. I think this show has great dialogue. I think when the characters talk, they make sense. They don't sound cringy. They don't sound terrible. Even though the show got worse by the 3rd and 4th season, the dialogue was still good. So that's my opinion on dialogue. I'm not going to make a whole video about it, going in depth with it. It's good. If it was bad, I'll explain, but it's not. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is the couples and where I feel like the show went wrong. And then that would just be the end of this analyzation. And then overall, and then when I explain where the show went wrong, I'll give you guys my overall opinion on the show, whether or not I think it's good, bad, or just in between. And I want to let you guys know right now, when I talk about couples, I'm only going to be talking about Ryan and Marissa and Zeph and Summer, because I honestly only really care about those. Those are the most 2 important ships on the show, so I'm only going to talk about those 2 ships. Me personally, I'm more of a Ryan and Marissa shipper. Obviously, people who watch my OCP couples videos, they're always in them. I fucking love them together. They should have been in a game. I do not care for Zest and Summer, but in the video I will explain why. So this has been part 2. Look out for part 3, and then that would be the end of this analyzation. And then maybe I'll talk about. Actually, I'm going to talk about Gossip Girl next. So look out, that video will be coming, and it might be a little bit. I might have more to say, but I'm going to probably try to shorten it down. Anyway, this has been Ashley. Love, have a good day. Love life, and try to be positive.